Hi, welcome back to Finally Revealed. In this episode, I want to talk about what happens in bankruptcy. Not anything step by step, not any official rules, but just in general, what it's about and what happens in the U.S. The basic bankruptcy that people think about when they say they have to declare bankruptcy or someone had to file bankruptcy is a Chapter 7. It's created for an individual. You can file it on your own or with your spouse. But if you're married, you don't have to file it together. Generally, someone declares bankruptcy when they have overwhelming debt that they cannot work out in a timely fashion. More than one creditor is banging down the door, trying to, not literally banging down the door, but coming after you by garnishments against your wages, by suing you in court, by contacting you repeatedly in an official way, not just annoying phone calls, to collect or try to collect debt. Oftentimes the person who has to file bankruptcy does not have a job. They've lost their job, they were sick or ill or injured or otherwise are unemployed. That is a big one because obviously if you don't have any income, you're not going to be able to pay for debts. People have some protections against creditors based upon the state laws on garnishment, and I cover those in other videos, but you need to be free from harassment and in a place where you can work out your obligations. And if more than one creditor with a large amount is coming towards you asking for payment, that's not going to be able to be possible. So the bankruptcy law was created in general to provide breathing room and a fresh start. So if you qualify to file for Chapter 7, which means that your debts exceed your assets and you don't have the income, money coming in from earnings or other ways on your own to pay for your bills. Now your bills mean your monthly living expenses plus car payments over the long term of the car, plus any medical bills that you have, credit card bills that you have, mortgages that you have, and any other student loans, taxes, and other obligations. Now some of those debts cannot be discharged. In particular, student loans and spousal support or child support. Some things in a divorce can be discharged, so that's a separate issue. Taxes, student loans, if you had a judgment against you based upon for example, vehicular homicide, and there's a money part to that, that can't be discharged. I go through the whole list of what can't be discharged in another video, and some of those are very technical, but these are the main ones that apply to a person. So what happens is you go to see your attorney. Please do not do it on your own because you'll miss certain things that you need to take advantage of. You prepare the schedules and statement of financial affairs. You list all your creditors. You list who else co-signed debt with you. You list all your assets and they are valued. Then there is a summary sheet that shows these are the total debts, these are the total assets. And assets are things that you own. Your house, your car, jewelry, furniture, clothing, sports memorabilia, SUVs, skis, golf clubs, guns, things like, anything that you own, jewelry, anything that you own, you list it. And you have to be truthful and you have to list everything. So if everything you own is less than everything you owe, then you could qualify. Now, if you have more income than the means test, which is another, I'll put that on another video, then you can't file Chapter 7 and you have to file Chapter 13, which is a way that you pay all of your money over to a trustee who then pays some or all of your debt according to a plan that you and your lawyer come up with. But if you qualify for a Chapter 7, you disclose everything, everybody's notified. Anything that you own that is a car, for example, that you have a loan against, so they have a lien on it, or you're buying a house and you have a mortgage, if you want to keep that property more than likely you are going to have to reaffirm it. So you're still going to have to pay on that debt. That debt can't go away just because you filed bankruptcy. In other words, you can't keep your car but then get out from under the loan on it. So when something has a loan against it, if you want to keep that item, then you have to keep paying. If you don't want to keep the item, then you won't have to keep paying. So if you have another car, or you can buy a beater or something a lot less expensive that you can own outright, then you can turn back over that fancy car if you're upside down, or otherwise you just turn it back over to the creditor, you don't owe them anymore, and you walk away. Same thing with your house. If you don't want to pay it anymore, you can turn it over and walk away. So then there are exempt assets that if there is no lien against it, you get to keep it, and there's a list of those by each state. And then anything that you own that is not exempt and doesn't have a lien against it, and usually depending upon how much it's worth, the trustee in your bankruptcy can take that away from you and sell it and use the money to be applied to pay creditors. If assets are recovered in your bankruptcy from the assets that you own, the property that you own when you file, then the trustee can sell those, and that can be sports tickets, that can be fur coats, that can be extra cars, any assets that are not exempt and don't have a lien against them, the trustee can take, sell it, and then pay to the creditors who file claims. They have to have a claim filed in the case. So you'll file, you'll go to a 341 meeting, which I'll put another video up about what happens at the 341 meeting. It's a meeting of creditors where you sit there with your creditors, the ones who show up. And then at the end of the bankruptcy case, if there is nothing else that anyone is asking to be done, then the court issues you a discharge. And what that means is that you don't have to pay those debts that are being discharged anymore. And I hope that's clear. The money that you make if you are working from when you file bankruptcy forward, any money that you earn, you can do with what you want to pay for your regular utilities, your regular debt that you reaffirm, and things like that. Now you have to keep paying your monthly utility bills and all of those things throughout your bankruptcy if you want those services. So bankruptcy is not a magic wand that says you don't have to pay anybody ever. It just means you don't have to pay those creditors whose debts are discharged, who are listed on your bankruptcy as of the date you file. I really hope this cleared up any questions. If you have more questions, leave them below. I'll put links to the difference between Chapter 7 and 13 below, and a couple of the other bankruptcy videos. I hope this was helpful to you. Please subscribe to see the other videos. Give me a thumbs up if you learned something. Share it with anyone who might need this, and come back and see me again next time. Thanks for watching.